My name is Patty, and I was a nurse on an English ward in the 1950s. I did not arrive by ship like Annie, and I did not come from across the Atlantic like Betty. I came from a little English street where everyone knew everyone's business, and where a girl was expected to be useful, tidy, polite, and not too full of herself. But I wanted more than that. I wanted work that mattered. Every morning I came to the hospital with my shoes polished, my cap pinned properly, and my hair tucked neatly away. The hospital was built of red brick with tall windows and heavy doors, and once you stepped inside, you entered a world of rules: quiet voices, clean floors, straight beds, folded sheets. The ward sister did not miss a thing. My first job each morning was to help bring the ward back to life. Curtains opened, windows cracked for air, beds straightened, water jugs filled, patients washed, turned, settled, and reassured. It was not glamorous work, but it was real work, the sort of work that told you very quickly whether you had backbone or not. I learned early that English nursing was built on order. There was a right way to carry a tray, a right way to speak to a patient, a right way to fold a sheet, and a right way to stand when the ward sister came by. Sometimes it felt strict, sometimes it felt too strict. But beneath it all, there was a serious truth. People were vulnerable, and our job was to keep them safe. One patient stayed with me. Her name was Mrs. Thompson. She was elderly, sharp-eyed, and frightened, though she tried not to show it. She did not want fuss. She did not want pity. She wanted someone to notice when her hands trembled, when her tea went cold, and when she was pretending to be braver than she felt. So I noticed. I brought her tea in the proper cup, not the chipped one. I tucked the blanket around her knees. I sat with her when the ward went quiet. I learned that nursing was not only the big things, it was also the tiny things that told a person, "You have not been forgotten." But ward life was not soft. There were long shifts, sore feet, ringing bells, and endless notes to write. The doctors came and went. Families worried. Patients cried at night when they thought no one could hear. And nurses carried it all, while still being expected to look composed, cheerful, and capable. The ward sister could be fierce. She believed discipline made good nurses. I did not always like her way, but I came to understand some of it. She was holding together a whole ward with limited staff, limited time, and very high expectations. In those days, women were expected to serve quietly. Nurses were expected to serve even more quietly. Then Annie came onto the ward. I saw how some people looked at her before they knew her. I saw the unfairness of it. I saw how much more she had to carry just to be treated as capable. And I knew then that being English did not mean I understood everything. Sometimes the ward taught me things about my own country that made me uncomfortable. Betty had her own way too. She brought a brightness with her, an American confidence that made the ward feel less grey. Annie brought dignity. Betty brought energy. I brought steadiness. Together, we learned from one another. We were different women, but the work joined us. By the end of many shifts, I would step outside the hospital tired to the bone, with my little bag in my hand and the evening light on the brick walls. Some days I felt proud. Some days I felt small. Some days I wondered if anyone truly understood what nurses carried. But I always knew this: the ward would not run without us. When people look back at the 1950s, they may see neat uniforms and polished corridors, but I remember the weight of the work. I remember the patients. I remember the bells. I remember the women who kept going when no one was clapping for them. My name is Patty, and this was my English ward experience. It was not a grand adventure across the sea. It was a quieter kind of courage. The courage to turn up, to care properly, to notice what others missed, and to become stronger without becoming hard. Historical references for this story include Catherine Babikian's Partnership Not Prejudice, British Nurses, Colonial Students, and the National Health Service, 1948 to 1962, and Simpson, Esmail, Calra, and Snow's Writing Migrants Back into NHS History, addressing a collective amnesia and its policy implications. These works support the wider background of early NHS nursing, overseas nurses, and the importance of remembering the people who built and sustained NHS care.